Hey everyone, it's Karen Hurd here in the world's biggest sunglasses to talk about fun in the sun. Actually, I love these because they protect my eyes. We're going to talk today about sunscreens. Hey May, we're going to talk about sunscreens. Are they dangerous in killing coral reefs? Is that another overblown thing? And how to protect your skin in the sun. And we live down south here, at least I do, and that's a more of a year-round thing. So, by the way, these glasses I've got on, like the world's biggest sunglasses, do you know why I love them? See this side thing here? You know what that does? Protects your eyes from the UVB rays and the UVA rays coming in this way to your eyes, lessens cataracts. So one of the ways to protect yourself in the sun is to wear really good polarized sunglasses, especially something that protects along the side. I know the coolness factor isn't quite there, but when you can see, that's awesome. Right, what's going on with sunscreens? They're in the news. Why are they in the news now? Because it's summer. I mean, who wants to talk about sunscreens in October, right? All right, so this is the time. They're on everybody's radar, and if you're in the media, this is the time to run that story. And means this is why we're doing this live right now. So let's talk about what the issue is. And it started with this. The FDA is updating regulations. Who knew? They hadn't been updated really since the 70s, but there's all kinds of ingredients out there and different formulations. And back in the 70s, people only wore sunscreen, kind of in the summer on the beach. Now it's almost a daily thing, and the dermatologist still recommends sunscreen whenever you're outside, all right? And actually, even when you're driving, because you get sun exposure here and here, right? So you always want to wear sunscreen. The question is, and how many of you guys know this, whatever is on your skin gets absorbed, for the most part, into your body and your bloodstream. That's why the personal care products you choose, you want them to be clean and organic as much as possible. A couple of exceptions is aluminum chlorhydrate. Isn't that supposed to cause breast cancer? Can't, because the molecule, that crazy molecule, is too big to go through your skin. There's some things that can't be absorbed just because the molecules to your skin are like bowling balls in a golf cup. It's just not going to happen. But a lot of the other things that we use in sunscreen can be absorbed in your skin, and that's what the FDA requirements are going to be about, finding out about the rate, because sunscreens are OTCs. That means over-the-counter drugs. All right, that's not just a cosmetic thing. They are over-the-counter drugs because of the compounds in them. Now, there's two that are genuinely recognized as safe. That's on the GRAS list of the FDA. And I got an example of one here. And it is white, right? It acts like a shield, right? And it takes a while for it to get absorbed. This one actually goes on my face and underneath my makeup. So this one does get, but it's a shield-based sunscreen. And those are usually made with zinc or titanium dioxide, also safe, big molecule. And what's the same, really similar to the diaper cream you put on your kids. Same thing, acts like a shield. It's more of a barrier sunscreen. Now, some of these can be pretty advanced, like the one I just used here, which blocks UVA and UVB rays, but overall safe. The other kind of like the one I've got here, this is also a UVA, UVB. We'll talk about what that number SPF means right there. Has different compounds in them. And some of these compounds are new and they haven't been regulated yet. So what the FDA said was, hey, this stuff gets absorbed into the bloodstream. Media went, sunscreen's absorbed into the bloodstream. Kind of like fake news, all right? Like everybody knew, but we can gin up a lot of stuff and freak out consumers. And that's kind of like the media's job to create outrage so that you get freaked out. What's the truth? The truth is, anything that's absorbed over 0.5, that's about half of a nanogram per milliliter. It's not very much. Needs to be, they want to test the absorption rate in the skin and find out if there's any consequences to that, and then it'll go on the appropriate list, whether it'll be generally recognized as safe, GRAS, or the other one that will have more regulation to it. That's where it's at right now. Okay, so yes, your personal care products get absorbed through your skin. The average woman eats 6 pounds of lipstick a year. When it's not on your lips, where do you think it goes? Right, into you. That's why the makeup you choose, the personal care you choose, lotions, shampoos, all that jazz, that's why the quality of them is really important. And making sure that they're clean is really important, because you eventually, it goes into your bloodstream. So a good, and what does the FPS mean? Both of these happen to be SPF 30. And some people think that what that means is 30 minutes in the sun before you get a burn, or 30 times longer. Doesn't mean that at all, because how many of you guys know that the sun in the morning is not as strong, I mean, as the sun at noon or the sun in the afternoon? So in my family, we would always go to the beach when we lived nearer to the beach. We'd always go in the late afternoon, early morning, late afternoon. We'd avoid the peak day to limit sun exposure. And all that means is the amount, the SPF is related to the amount of sun exposure. So it's going to vary during the day. Some are waterproof, some are water resistant. Some, like this one, are shield based. This one also happens to be anti-aging. But it's really important to protect your skin with a sunscreen, and be wise. I mean, if you have an outside job or whatever, you know, maybe you're on vacation, you're not going to avoid the sun, and you need some sun. It's part of how your body makes vitamin D. That's been an issue on the other side. Sometimes we get into too much sun avoidance. So like my message always is, there's an in-between place. There's a balance. Find the balance. But choose a sunscreen that has been tested. Now, there was some problem a couple of years ago with some big brand sunscreens, not well made, causing blistering on children. Those are outright dangerous. Again, this is why a quality product is real important. They're not regulated that tightly, and there was damage. These kids were getting blistered. They were getting burned from an inferior sunscreen, and it was some very big brand names. You can just kind of go, toddlers get burned by sunscreen, right? And all the articles will come up in the brands. So what I look for is this. I want a company that's working to be as natural as possible. I want a company that's testing to make sure the product is safe, testing to make sure it actually has the SPF level it's supposed to have. I want to make sure that the company is not allowing any contaminants in the product, because I know my skin's going to absorb some of it. It just is. So I want to make sure that whatever I absorb is safe for me. There's also an issue and why some sunscreens were banned in Hawaii about whether or not it damages the coral reef. And again, the issue is, one of the reasons why we're talking about it now is the quantity of sunscreen people are using is significantly more than it's ever been. And so obviously when you've got more people using more sunscreen, well, you've got higher quantities of everything. I don't know for sure whether or not it is impacting the coral reefs. Obviously we want to protect the coral reefs, but sometimes, one study or two studies isn't enough to make a decision. In the case of the one FDA study on absorption, it was 24 people. 24 people. That's not a big study in anybody's book. All right. All that is a study to say, well, should we study it more? It's really all it's about. And I do have more information on studies and how to evaluate them. I can do another live on that later. But I just wanted you guys to know that that's what the issue is. However, it hits the news wires, it gets all ginned up, and then everybody's freaking out over sunscreen. You don't really have to freak out. Choose a good company. I will say I don't really use a lot of the stuff that's available in stores. It's not usually well made. It's not really careful. They're going for price point, not necessarily quality, and not necessarily just because something's an SPF 15 or an SPF 30 doesn't mean that that's the same level of protection across the board. So I hope that helped you. Remember, protect your eyes, wear good sunglasses, protect your eyes against from cataracts as well. Wear a good sunscreen, and then for those of you that care about this, you'll look younger and longer because you're protecting your skin. It takes about 10 years for sun damage to show up. I one time had somebody ask me, she said, I'm getting freckles now, and I don't know why. I'm not out in the sun. I said, well, what did you do when you were 15? She goes, oh, yeah, I was out in the sun with the lemon juice and the aluminum foil. I said, well, that's why you're getting freckles now. It takes about 10 years for sun damage to show up. And you really want to avoid it because sun damage is actually cellular damage and potential DNA damage. So it's not really just about appearance. There's some real things happening in a deep inside your cells that could cause some trouble down the road. So if you got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to answer them if this has been of value to you. Hey guys, it's so good to see all of you. I'm looking at the names on the right here. And post a comment below. Feel free to share this. I'm cool with that. And if I can help you in any way, let me know. Have fun in the sun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.